Good morning and welcome everyone to our gentle yoga class for Wednesday morning. Hopefully you were able to see on the chat bar, I did give you an option for music today if you'd like to utilize that on Spotify. I think it's called Carolyn's Virtual Yoga. It's a nice music list if you want to have music just for relaxation and not required, just optional. And then also have a blanket handy today, just because we're going to be on our knees for a little while and it will just make the practice a little more comfortable. So let's just go ahead and come to a seated position on our mat. And we're going to begin to center. So let's go ahead and just reach our shoulders up towards our ears, roll them back, creating some space in our collarbone. You can go ahead and close your eyes, just have your hands on your knees, or you can take your gaze to the floor right in front of you. And let's take a deep breath in, just a natural breath. And then exhale out. And begin now to just let go of everything. Let go of what you might have going on later this afternoon or after this class. And just devote this next hour to the present, the right now. This is your time. You're doing some great things for your body. So just enjoy this time. And if your mind starts to wander, you can always go back to your breath. And I'll give you little tips throughout our practice to help you bring your focus back to your breath. And while we're speaking of breath, let's go ahead and connect our breath. Let's take a deep breath from the belly, up through the collarbone, in through the back of your throat, sipping in a little more, and then exhale out. And as you're breathing, try to inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose or pursed lips. But try to have it through your nose so you start to hear it in the back of your throat. And maybe even on your exhale, make that a little longer lasting than the inhale. And you're going to start to feel that relaxation come over you, and it will also just really help your practice. So let's take another breath just like that, taking a deep breath in from the belly, up through the collarbone, back of your throat, and then exhale out long. Nice work. And on your exhale, imagine a little hand mirror being held just right under your nostrils. And on your exhale, imagine fogging that hand mirror up. And what's going to happen is you're going to start to hear your breath in the back of your throat. And that is the optimal yogi breath. Let's try that again. Deep breath in from the belly, up through the collarbone, exhale through your nose. You hear that? It sounds a little bit like the ocean. One more breath, deep breath in. Sip it a little more. Exhale through your nose or pursed lips. Beautiful. And try to continue that breath throughout your practice. And on your next breath, think of a word, just one single word. It can be patience, kindness, gratitude, love, whatever you like. And think of that word today during our practice if your mind begins to wander. If you start to think about those to-do lists or any worries you might have, just go right to that word, or perhaps go to your breath. Inhale, exhale, and you'll find that you'll come right back to your practice and where you need to be for this next hour. And I'm going to go ahead and set an intention myself. I'm going to set an intention today for patience. Patience for things that I can't control, including maybe a pose that doesn't feel comfortable, using my breath maybe to achieve that pose and perhaps go even deeper into that pose with my breath. But being patient with myself if maybe I'm not able to. Okay, let's take one more deep breath in. Sip in a little more air. Exhale out. Nice, hearing it through the back of your throat. Let's go ahead and begin our practice. pressing our sit bones into our mat. We're going to sit up with a nice tall spine. We're going to take our shoulders once again up towards our ears and roll them back, creating that space in case we've lost it. And then we're going to place our fingertips right outside of our body. Take a little mountain stretches that are seated. So go ahead and inhale the arms up towards the ceiling. Spread your fingers wide. And then on your exhale, take a little fold to the right. You can come down on your elbow if that helps. And then we're going to reach up towards the ceiling. Take a breath in. And exhale, take a little stretch to the left. Opening up through your chest. Inhale, reach up. Exhale to your side, right side. Inhale, reach up. Exhale to the left. And then one more stretch up. We're in neutral now. And then on your next breath, just let your hands fall right back to your side. We're going to work on our shoulders now. So you can place your hands right on your knees. And we're just going to begin to rotate our shoulders towards that wall behind you. Just making nice circles. And then let's come to neutral and let's rotate in the other direction. And it doesn't really matter which side you start on as long as you get both sides to stay balanced. And then on your next breath, let's go ahead and take our hands, reach them up and just place them on the floor in front of you or your mat in front of you. We're going to take some nice deep body circles. This will help your low back. So just pressing your chest towards the mat or towards the floor. And then we're going to reverse those circles the other direction. Nice work. And then go ahead and sit back up tall again. If you need to, lift those shoulders up or roll them back. We can't do that too many times. When you're sitting up nice and tall, just visualize a little thread holding the crown of your head up from the ceiling. And that will help keep you with a nice straight posture, which will improve your practice as well. We're going to actually bring our feet out in front of us. Toes are going to face the ceiling. Feet are flat. If this part is uncomfortable, you can put a little bend in your knees, or you can also take your blanket and just roll it up a little bit and just place it right underneath your knees. So we'll go ahead and make any kind of adjustments that we need. And we're going to go ahead and reach our arms up. Inhale. And then exhale, take a fold. Don't worry about touching your toes here. The main thing here is just to draw those toes as close to your forehead or your face as you can. And you're going to feel it. This is really, really nice for sciatica pain. We're just going to hold this a little longer. Breathing, hearing that breath in the back of your throat. And then go ahead and walk your hands closer towards your body. If you do have a little blanket here, let's go ahead and remove it because we're going to do a stretch now. So on your next breath, go ahead and bend that right leg. That's all you have to do. The toes are still facing up towards the ceiling on the left side. And then let's take this right leg and just lift it up and place the foot, the right foot, right outside that left knee. And then reach out with your left arm, wrap it around that right leg, lots to think about, and then take that right hand, reach it back behind you, and look over your right shoulder. It's a lot of preparation, but this is a great stretch. You're going to feel it in your waist. We're going to hold this. Breath travels up the spine. Breath travels down the spine. And then we're going to come back to neutral and we're going to switch sides. So we're going to just take that leg, put it back. This time we'll bend the opposite leg, the left leg, lift it up, place it right outside that right knee area. And once again, we're going to take our opposite arm out. So that would be the right arm, reach it out, wrap it around that left knee. Left arm comes right behind you and you look over your left shoulder. Try to find a spot on the wall right behind you. And let's hold this. Hearing your breath. Breath travels up the spine. Breath travels down the spine. If you've forgotten about your toes, make sure they're facing the ceiling or maybe even facing you, your forehead. And then go ahead and release this. Go ahead and press back to neutral. Let's put that leg back where it was. Put a little bend in the knee. Let's all put a little bit in the knee. Take one more forward fold. Reach up towards the ceiling. Spread your fingers wide. And then take a fold. Maybe you can feel your knees hitting your chest a little bit. Take a deep breath in. Exhale out. And then go ahead and bring your arms back. Let's bend our knees here. Take your hands, just bring them out behind you. Fingertips can be facing the wall on either side of you. And let's just take some little swishes side to side. Just waking up our hip connectors a little bit and our hips. And then coming back to neutral, we're gonna just pull our legs in. We're making our way into a tabletop. Now, this might be an area where you want to put your little towel or your blanket just to protect your knees. You can fold it up if you like. Just an option. You don't have to have one, but we will be in this position for a little while. And once you're in your tabletop, let's just take a look at our fingers and our hands. We're going to do a little bit of work with them. First of all, we want our hands to be active. So the fingertips are going to be pressed into your mat, actually as though you're leaving little indentations in your mat. And we're just going to do that. And then relax your hands. See the difference. See how your wrists really rely on your hands to be active. So let's activate your hands again. Press those fingertips into the mat, noticing that difference. And then we're going to dial the hands around. We're going to rotate the fingers on the right hand towards that outside wall. And then we're going to rotate the fingers on the left hand towards the opposite left wall. Take a deep breath in. Exhale out. And then we're going to rotate even deeper. We're going to rotate the fingers on the right hand towards our body. Ooh, a little bit of a twist in your wrist. And then same thing on the other side. We're going to rotate the left fingers towards our body. So now our fingers are facing our body. Our wrists are facing that wall in front of us. We're going to hold this. This is actually a little yoga for the wrists. Taking a breath in. Exhale out. And then we're going to do something a little deeper with our hands and our wrists. We're going to take this right hand and turn it upside down. Fingertips will still face you. So the hand is actually on top of the mat. You can see your palm and just kind of pull back a little bit at the wrist. Just pulling back very slightly. If this hurts, back off a little bit. And then put the hand right back the way it was with the fingers facing you. Let's do the left side. You're just going to take that hand and turn it upside down so the back of the hand is on the mat. Maybe you put a little bend in the wrist. Maybe you bring your forearm a little more towards you. Just getting a little stretch there. And then on your next breath, put that hand right back. And let's bring our fingers back around. So we're going to rotate them to the outside walls. And then we're going to rotate them to the front walls and activate the fingers. So we're right where we started here. Okay, now we're going to do some of our work. So on your next breath, you're going to go ahead and take your right hand, bring it out in front of you. Your thumb is facing the ceiling, and bring that left foot back behind you. Your toes are facing the floor. And we're going to do a little exercise here where we're going to touch our elbow to our knee as we inhale. So here we go. Inhale in, exhale out. Inhale, exhale. One more. Inhale, exhale. And then we're going to stay right here for balance. Now, if you want a little bit more of a balance, you can reach back behind and grab that foot and lift it up towards the ceiling. Either way, we're going to stay here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we're going to take just our hand and put it back on the mat. Toe is still up in the air, but instead of the toe being pointed, we're going to face that toe towards the back wall. And we're going to do a little glute work here. You're going to feel it when we lift. We're going to lift our foot up towards the ceiling, really exaggerating that toe facing the back wall so you can feel that in your glutes. Let's do this for about 3 breaths. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Think of your word if you need to. Inhale, exhale, and then lower down. Nice work. Let's go ahead and reach our hips back towards our heels and take some nice circles, moving the spine along with, and maybe your head and your shoulders even go along for the ride. Hearing your breath. And then meeting back up into neutral, let's reverse those circles in the opposite direction. I think I said this last week. Think about maybe a hula hoop around your waist, really, really exaggerating the circles to get the full benefit. And then coming back up to neutral, let's take a cat-cow here. Breathing in for cow, exhaling for cat, drawing your chin towards your chest. And then we'll work the other side. Go ahead and work on the left side. So we'll go ahead and reach our left hand out, thumb facing the ceiling, reach the right foot back, toe facing the floor, and we're gonna do our little touches. So inhale, elbow to knee. Exhale, extend out. Inhale in, exhale out. One more. Inhale in, exhale out. Same thing, stay here or reach back behind, lifting that foot up towards the ceiling, and let's hold this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then just the palm comes down on the left side. Let's go ahead and rotate our toes towards that back wall, and for 3 breaths, let's lift up towards the ceiling, feeling this in our glutes. Breath travels up the spine. Breath travels down the spine. Breath travels up the spine. Breath travels down the spine. Inhale. Exhale. And lower down. Let's take a child's pose here together. We'll turn it into a twisted child's pose. So bringing your knees as wide as you can get them outside your mat. Big toes may even touch. Let's just press our hips back towards our heels. And then once we're down here, let's walk our hands forward as far as they'll go towards the top of your mat. Take a deep breath in. Exhale out. And then on your next breath, we're going to raise the right arm up towards the ceiling. And then on the exhale, we're going to just thread it underneath the left arm, resting your right ear to your mat. You can stay right here, or if you like, if you want to open up your chest a little bit, take your left hand and just wrap it behind your back. We're going to hold this. Hearing your breath in the back of your throat. Inhale. Exhale. And then let's go ahead and release this. Coming back into that neutral child's pose. Take a deep breath in. Exhale out. And we'll do the other side. Go ahead and inhale the left arm up towards the ceiling. And then exhale it, thread it right through underneath that right arm, pressing your left ear to the mat. And let's stay. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And then go ahead and come back up to neutral. And let's go ahead and come back into our tabletop, just bringing our knees together. You might want to remove your towel because we're not going to be in tabletop for much longer now. So just keep it handy. Check your fingertips. Make sure that those fingers are active and you're pressing those fingertips into the mat. I'm going to remind you several times because it's really easy until you get into the habit to forget to do that. Let's go ahead and tuck our toes, and we're going to lift up our knees just a little bit. Take a breath in. Exhale out. And then we're going to come all the way up into a downward facing dog. Our gaze is facing that back wall. And you can try to bring your toes down. Go ahead and bend your right knee and then bend your left knee, bringing that right heel towards the ground and just begin to pedal out, bending opposite knees, noticing how the opposite heel may reach the mat when you do this. Hearing your breath in the back of your throat, revisiting that nice yoga breath. And then on your next breath, let's come up on our tippy toes. Really exaggerate it, pressing the tops of your feet into the mat. The toes are flat on the mat. And let's draw our heels towards the right wall. Ooh, you're gonna feel a nice stretch up and down the left side of your body. Reaching those hips up towards the ceiling, making sure your fingertips are still pressed. Feel them and make sure they're pressed and active. And then let's rotate those toes back. And our heels are going to rotate towards the left wall. Lifting your hips up, you're going to feel a nice stretch up and down that right leg. Next breath, come right back up on your tippy toes to neutral. And you can lower your heels as much as they'll go here. And we're going to go ahead and raise the right leg. Lifting it up towards the ceiling. This is a three-legged dog we're in. We're going to bend the knee and then draw it through, and we're going to plant our foot right in between our hands. And if it doesn't want to reach there, which happens to me all the time, just take your right hand and grab your right ankle and just give it a little help. Give it a little lift there. And then go ahead and plant your back foot, your left foot. We're going to come up into a warrior one. I'm going to face you so you can see a warrior one. So your front foot is in front of you, toes are facing the front, your knees stacked right over the ankle. Your back foot is probably at about 11 o'clock on a clock. We're just gonna hold this. Spread your fingers wide, hold this. And then on your next breath, you're gonna turn this into a warrior two. The way you do that is you just open up and bring that left arm right back behind you. Take your gaze right in between your fingers. And check your alignment. Check your knee, make sure it's still stacked right over your ankle. Good way to do that is to see your big toe and your little toe. Maybe even bend a little deeper. If that's too much, back off a little bit. And then on your next breath, we're gonna straighten that front leg, that right leg. And we're gonna rotate at the waist, coming down, setting up a triangle pose. This is a little bit of a balance. So just find a spot on the floor, stare at it. If you're confident with your balance, you might even try to look up at your left thumb. Little challenge there. We're going to stay here for a breath. Inhale, exhale. And then on your next breath, we're going to come right back into warrior two. The knee's just going to bend along with as we do this. Taking your gaze right in between your fingers once again. And then next breath, turn this into a side angle. We're going to just rest our right arm on our right thigh. Reach up with our left hand. Try to see your left thumb this time. Try to challenge your balance. And then on your exhale, go ahead and turn this into an extended side angle. So you're just going to rotate that left arm. It's almost going to touch your ear, just in front of you. And if you want a little more, you can stay here or add something to it. You can release that right arm and bring it out in front of you too. Either way, we're going to hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we're going to rotate at the waist, press our palms down, and we're going to send that right leg back right behind us. And then we're going to take a real quick child's pose here. So go ahead and drop your knees, big toes to touch, hips to your heels. And this time, let's bring our arms by our body side. Give your shoulders a little break here. Just rest your ear, your right ear on your mat, or you can press your forehead into the mat, whichever is more comfortable. Hearing your breath in the back of your throat. Breathing in, exhaling out. Breath travels up the spine. Breath travels down the spine. Staying for one more breath. And then go ahead and bring your hands in front of you. Come back up into your tabletop, adjusting your knees right under your hips. We're not going to stay here long. We're going to go ahead and tuck our toes, check your fingertips, make sure they are grounded into your mat. And then let's go ahead and lift right up into our downward facing dog, taking your gaze right to that wall behind you. Hearing your breath in the back of your throat. And on your next breath, let's go ahead and raise the left leg. Reaching that foot all the way towards the ceiling, three-legged dog. Go ahead and bend that knee, draw that leg through, and try to get it to land right between your palms. And if you can't quite get it there, just take your left hand, give it a little help right there. And then go ahead and rise up for your warrior one. Reaching up for the ceiling, check that back foot. Make sure it's planted and make sure it's facing about 2 o'clock. And check your front knee. Make sure it's right above your ankle. Fingers are spread. I'm going to turn this way just to make it a little easier for you to see. And then on your next breath, we're going to come right into our warrior two. Once again, make any adjustments that you need to make. Make sure you can see your big toe, your little toe, that your knee's not flailing out. If it is, just draw it back in. Take your gaze right between your fingers. And then on your next breath, we're going to do what we did on the other side. We're going to straighten that front leg. And we're going to rotate into a triangle. Try, if you can, to see your thumb opening up through your chest. Noticing how your shoulders just stack when you do that. And then releasing this, go ahead and come on up right back into your warrior two. Make sure you remember to bend that front knee. Inhale, exhale. And then on your next breath, go ahead and turn that into a side angle, just like we did on the right. Maybe you can see your right thumb. And then next breath, turn that into an extended side angle. Arm goes right in front, facing that front wall. Maybe it's pressing your ear. And then option to grab both arms out. I call this grabbing your beach ball. And if you're doing this, let's hold this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Maybe you're shaking a little bit. Let's rotate at the waist, press down. And this time, let's send that right leg forward. Just bring it forward to meet the left. And so I'm going to turn this way so you can see me. You're at the very top of your mat. Both feet are at the top of the mat. Let's just take this pose into a ragdoll. Put a little bend into your knees. Maybe you rest a little bit on your knees and let your head just hang. Try to listen to my voice and not look at your screen, and relax your neck and your head. And your arms can do lots of things. They can dangle. You can actually interlace them, grabbing opposite elbows if you like. Or you can clasp your hands and bring them to the back of your skull and press your low part of your palm into your head, giving yourself a little head massage. Lots of options. Wherever you are, let's go ahead and shake your head yes, and shake your head no. And make sure you can hear your ujjayi breath, your yoga breath in the back of your throat. Inhale, exhale. Breath travels up the spine. Breath travels down the spine. And then we're going to release our arms and just let them dangle. And we're slowly, slowly going to rise, just one vertebra at a time. We don't want to come up too fast. We don't want to get dizzy. So our head's the very last thing to come up. taking your time. We're in no hurry here. And then once you're all the way up, take a look at your feet and bring them out about hip distance, separating them about hip distance. And we are going to do some balance. Not quite yet, we're gonna do a stretch first, but just know after our stretch, we're gonna probably need to go up near a wall or near a piece of furniture. So just a little heads up on that. So we're gonna go ahead right here and just reach up for the ceiling into a mountain pose, spreading our fingers nice and wide, lift all 10 toes. And then exhale, come into a Tadasana. And we're gonna work this Tadasana, make it active. Our toes are still lifted. Let's go ahead and reach our shoulders up towards our ears, roll them open, creating that space. And then we're gonna turn all of our muscles on. It's a little bit of work. We're gonna squeeze our arms so much so that we can feel the backs of our arms, the tricep muscles. We're gonna squeeze our abs. We're gonna squeeze our legs so much that our kneecaps are actually lifting up. Squeeze, 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 squeeze your face, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then let it go and relax. Whew. How did we know that just standing could be so much work? Now, we're gonna start our balance. So if you need to be near a wall or near a piece of furniture, go ahead and make that adjustment. If your mat is on top of a carpet or a rug, I would recommend stepping off of it and going next to a wall, someplace a little easier to balance. Okay, once we have found our spot for balancing, we're gonna go ahead and start. So putting all of our weight on our left leg, we're gonna lift our right knee. That's all we're gonna do right now, just lift our right knee. And if your hands are free, you can place them on your waist. Otherwise, hold onto your piece of furniture or hold onto your wall, whichever feels good. And then we're just going to begin to lift that knee. So I'm going to go back to my position and just begin to lift the knee. Toes are active. They're facing that front wall. Lifting the knee. Keep lifting. And then stop the lifting, and on your next breath, we're going to straighten that front leg. Now, it doesn't matter if it's down here or if it's up here, just as long as you can hold it out in front of you. Toes are up towards the ceiling. We're going to hold this for, and it's hard to balance, for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then lower that down and just kind of give everything a little kick out. We were standing on one leg a long time. And then bring your feet about hip distance again. We're going to do another mountain to Tadasana stretch. So inhale, arms up towards the ceiling, spread your fingers, lift all 10 toes into mountain. Exhale into Tadasana. Let's turn it on again. Turn all those muscles on. Squeeze your face, squeeze your arms, squeeze your abs. Squeeze your thighs, lift the kneecaps and lift the toes. Maybe you're shaking a little bit. You got this. And then exhale, let it all go and just relax. So much nicer, isn't it? And then let's do the other side. Go ahead and press all your weight into your right leg and then lift that left knee. Activate the toes so they're facing that front room. And you can place your hands on your waist or on that piece of furniture or the wall, whichever feels right. And let's make our little lifts here. Not really counting it out. We're mainly focusing on our breath here. Inhale, exhale. All of this while we're doing balance. And you can always take your gaze to a spot on the wall in front of you. And then on your next breath, we're going to straighten that leg. Toes towards the ceiling. We're going to hold this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. And let's go ahead and shake that leg out. Maybe shake out the other one too. You can shake your hands out. And then bring your legs back to hip width distance. And let's just go ahead and take our hands, bring them up, make a fist, and rotate, taking care of our wrists. Just rotate one direction. Rotate the other direction. And then releasing this, let's take our mountain pose. Reaching up towards the ceiling. Go ahead and lift all 10 toes up off the mat. And fingertips are as wide as you can get them. And then exhale into your Tadasana. One more active Tadasana here. Let's squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Turn everything on. Squeeze your face. Squeeze your arms so hard that they hurt. And then squeeze in your belly button. Lift the kneecaps. Lift the toes. And then exhale, relax. So nice. We're going to do one more balance. We're going to do a tree pose. So putting your weight on your left leg and then deciding with your right if you want to make it a low tree or maybe it comes above the knee for a high tree. You would just want to avoid your knee area. Taking your gaze to the floor or maybe the wall in front of you. And maybe this is your tree. Maybe you just press your hands together with the elbows out. Maybe on your inhale, you grow your tree up. Maybe on the exhale, you separate those branches. And try to hold this. Try to stay for 3 breaths. Breath travels up the spine. Breath travels down the spine. Inhale. Exhale. Breathe in, breathe out, and release. Nice work. If you need to shake it out, go right ahead. Let's all meet up on the other side of that tree. So when you're ready, go ahead and press all your weight into the right foot. And however you did your tree on the right side, try to do it on the left so you're balanced. Try to keep them equal trees. So maybe you just stay in a tree that's like this. Maybe you inhale your arms up. Maybe you exhale your branches out. And let's stay here for 3 breaths. Breath travels up the spine. Breath travels down the spine. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And release. Nice work. Let's go ahead and bring our feet back about hip distance apart. If you need to, reach those shoulders up towards your ears, roll them back open. Let's take our mountain pose, reaching up towards the ceiling. And go ahead and bring your hands together and draw them down to heart center. Let's take care of our wrists again. Any opportunity we can do that, we take it. So let's go ahead and rotate our fingertips down towards the mat and see our veins. Pinkies are really close to your body. And then rotate them back up. I like to do a lot of wrist work because I know we all spend a lot of time on our computers and our cell phones in our yoga practice. So we really need to take care of our wrists. Let's go ahead and sweep our arms up towards the ceiling for a mountain pose. And then exhale, take a fold. Try to touch your fingers to your mat. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back here. I'm going to turn this way so you can see. I could put a glass of water on my back and it wouldn't spill, just as flat as you can get it. And then on your next breath, we're going to come into a chair pose. I'm going to stay this way so you can see. So we're going to come into a chair pose, also called intense pose. Maybe you can lift all 10 toes and sink a little bit lower. And go ahead and cactus your arms, squeezing your shoulder blades together in the back. Sink a little bit lower. We're going to hold this. Not an easy pose. We're going to hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and take a fold. Nice work. Let your head just hang here. And then inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Take your gaze to the floor so you don't strain your neck. And then on your next breath, come back down into a tabletop. We're not going to stay in the table, so you won't need your blanket for this. But let's take a cat-cow while we're here. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat, drawing your chin towards your chest. Nice work. And then on your next breath, from here, go ahead and reach your right leg back behind you. And then reach your left leg back behind you. And if you need to, come down onto your elbows. We're in a little bit of a plank pose here. And we're gonna hold this plank, and you can drop a knee if you need to, because I know this is intense. We're gonna hold this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we're gonna lower those knees and slowly lower all the way down flat to our mat. Your toes are probably still tucked, so just go ahead and flatten your feet on top of your mat. And go ahead and press your right ear into your mat. Let's take a deep breath in. Exhale out. And then on your next breath, we're going to take a little locust pose. We're going to lift our hands and our legs off the mat, drawing our belly button in towards our spine. And we're not going to stay real long, just hold it for maybe a breath. So on your next breath, let's go ahead and lift those hands up off the mat, lift your legs off the mat, and hold it. Inhale, exhale, come on back down and press that left ear into the mat. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. And then we're going to do that same thing again. So on your next breath, come up for locust pose. Go ahead and breathe in, lift up, holding those hands up next to you. And then exhale right back down again. Let's bend our knees here. And let's just swish them side to side. Pressing an ear into the mat or your forehead into the mat, whatever feels right. Your hips may be even going along with your knees as you windshield wipe side to side. Should feel really nice. And then go ahead and bring your knees back to neutral and just lower your feet back down to the mat. And on your next breath, we're going to replace our hands where they are with our elbows. So we're just going to lift up our chest, elbows come down onto the mat. Let's do a little measurement here. Take your right hand and bring it over to your left elbow and see if you can't grab it. And if you need to scoot your arm a little closer, let me do it this way so you can see me better. So your hands are like here, reach that right hand over to your left elbow, and that's about right. And then take your left hand, reach it over to that elbow, and that's about right. So you're measuring to make sure you're aligned where your elbows are right underneath your shoulders. And then go ahead and bring that back out. And we're just gonna hold this. This is a Sphinx pose. We're just gonna hold this. Let's hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Really nice for the low back. We've got a nice arch going. And then think about where your hands are and your elbows are. We're going to take our hands and put them where our elbows are. So we're just going to reach that right hand where the right elbow was and reach the left hand where the left elbow was. And then we're just going to press ourselves up onto our knees. We're back into our tabletop. And then we're going to sit back on our heels. And we're stretching our ankles here. So your feet are flat on the mat. You're stretching your ankles. We're sitting up with a nice tall spine. Go ahead and take your hands. And let's make some fists with them and just rotate your wrists. Rotate them. Hearing your breath in the back of your throat. And then rotating them in the other direction. And while we're doing this, we're stretching our ankles, taking care of them. And then we're going to go ahead and just swing our legs around, bringing them out in front of us. So we're sitting on our mat, our feet are in front of us, our toes are facing either the ceiling or our forehead. And let's go ahead and reach up towards the ceiling and take a fold. Maybe you don't touch your feet. Maybe you just have your hands about here, but you feel that stretch because your toes are facing your forehead. And we're just going to hold this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we're going to walk our hands back up, making sure that you're seated right in the middle of your mat, sitting up with that tall spine. Let's go ahead and make our way down to our mats, bringing your hands next to us. Our thumbs are facing the ceiling. And we're just going to slowly lower down. Slowly, slowly, maybe even stop at a spot. And then keep going down. And if you find this to be kind of challenging, you can always, when you get down a little lower, come onto your elbows. and take a little stop right there. And then release your elbows and come down a little further. All the way until you're flat on your back, as though we're in Shavasana. It's not quite time for Shavasana, but just as though you're ready for Shavasana. And we're going to do a little bit of work here. So before we do anything, take your hands and see if you can press them underneath that low part of your back, the sacrum, the lumbar, that area. And if you can, like I can, I have both my hands under, then remove your hands and try actively to press your low back into your mat, feeling the difference. That right there is an intense stretch. And then come back to neutral, natural, and see how it lifts up the mat, lifts off the mat. Then just press it back down again. We're going to do it one more time. Pressing into the mat. And then release that muscle. The back springs back into that little arch. And then press it right down again. Nice work. And then on your next breath, go ahead and bend the right knee. Just place the sole of the foot flat on your mat. Then grab your knee with your hands and just bring that knee up towards your right shoulder, getting a nice, nice stretch. You can relax the head here. You can even rotate your foot, helping those ankles. Just rotating. And then let's send that right leg back on the next breath and switch sides. So inhale, bring that left knee up towards the left shoulder. Go ahead and rotate the ankle, remembering to take care of both sides, left side and then the right side. And then on your next breath, go ahead and instead of bringing the leg down, go ahead and just bend that right knee too and bring both knees up towards the chest, squeezing them in, maybe even make a little rock side to side or make some little circles into the mat with your low back. Should feel really nice. Inhale, exhale. And then we're going to turn this into a happy baby. We're just going to bring the feet up. Active toes are facing the wall behind you. Maybe you even grab the big toe and the little toe, or you can grab the outside edges of your feet. And now make some even bigger rocks into the mat. You have a little more space to do that. So maybe you're able to rotate your circles towards the left side. Maybe you rotate your circles to the right side. If you want to make this an active happy baby and straighten one leg and bend the opposite knee, that's also a nice little stretch to throw in. And just enjoying this for another breath. And then on your next breath, we're going to bring both legs up into a waterfall position, drawing your toes towards your forehead. We're not going to stay here. We're going to turn this into a reverse pigeon. We've done this one before. So if you're new, you're going to just have your legs up like this, and then you're going to bend the left knee and set up that upside down. It looks like an upside down number 4. You're going to set that left ankle right above the right knee. So looks like this. You're facing this way, and then you're going to have that little triangular space in between your legs. Just reach through with your hands, clasp your hands, and pull your right leg towards you. Toes are facing your forehead. Real nice, intense stretch. So nice for the low back. If you want to deepen the stretch, you can take your left elbow and press it into your left thigh. You can even make some little rocks side to side. Hearing your breath in the back of your throat. Breath travels up the spine. Breath travels down the spine. And then let's go ahead and switch sides. Just straightening that left leg, bending that right knee, reaching through that little space, clasping your hands together and pulling that left leg towards you. And you might notice that one side is a little different from the other side. And you can still press away that right thigh with your right elbow. Draw those toes towards your forehead. Breath travels up the spine. Breath travels down the spine. Nice. And then let's go ahead and release this, untangle, and just let your knees hover right over your hips. Bring your arms out to a T, or you can cactus them. The key here is keeping your shoulders glued to your mat. We're going to take a supine twist here. So we're going to take a deep breath in, sip in a little more air, and then exhale, let those knees fall to the right side of your body. Maybe you even take that outside left leg and straighten it and pin down the right leg for a little more intense stretch. Let's stay here for 3 breaths. Inhale, exhale, and then we'll go ahead and bring those back up. Knees to hover right over your hips. Inhale, exhale, knees come down, excuse me, on the left side. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And if you extended that outside leg on the right side, just do it on the left side. And then releasing this, just bring those knees to hover right over the hips once again. And let's press our feet into a butterfly pose and slowly lower those feet back down to the mat. Making your way into Shavasana. And you can go ahead and bring your feet wide outside your mat. Palms facing the ceiling. Let's take a deep breath in. Exhale out. Go ahead and close your eyes. We're going to do a real quick body scan here. So just thinking about the crown of your head, relaxing that little space right in between your eyebrows where we furrow our brows. Just soften there and relax. If your tongue is stuck to the roof of your mouth, just let it drop right into the low palate. If your teeth are clenched, move your jawbone side to side. And then relax through your shoulders, soften there. Relax through your arms, all the way to the tips of your fingers. Just let everything go. Just melt right into your mat. Relax through your torso, your abdominal cavity, and let go of any tension you might be holding onto in your hips. Just let it go. Relax through your thighs, your knees. Let go of any strain you might be holding there. Relax through your calves, the tops of your feet, the bottoms of your feet, and just melt right into your mat. Let's take another breath here. Deep breath in from the belly, up through the collarbone, in through the back of your throat, and exhale out. Maybe the exhale is a little longer. Let's do one more breath, just like that. Deep breath in, and then exhale out. Just melting right into your mat and just enjoying Shavasana. We're just going to stay here, trying hard to be still. Sometimes this is the hardest pose. Just close your eyes, let it all go. Fully, deeply relax. Breath travels down the spine. Continuing to relax, and you have awareness of your breath as your chest rises and falls. We're going to stay here for about 5 more breaths. Begin to awaken your body very gently, very slowly. Begin to rotate. Maybe your fingers, wiggle them a little bit, wiggle your toes very gently. Maybe you wiggle and rotate your wrists and your ankles. Just slow movements, gentle movements. Hearing your breath the whole time. Breath travels up the spine. Breath travels down the spine. And then on your next breath, maybe you bend the knees and just windshield wipe them side to side. Maybe the hips will move along with. Just very deliberate, but very gentle. Swishing side to side. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. And then you have an option here to draw your knees into your chest. Make another little rock into that low part of your back. You can even turn it into a happy baby if that feels good to you. Just any kind of gentle movements that awaken the body. And then on your next breath, let's all meet up in that pencil stretch we've done before. Reaching your toes towards that wall in front of you, reaching your arms towards that wall behind you, and let's turn all of our muscles on like we did in Tadasana, squeezing our face, squeezing our arms, squeezing our abs, our thighs, lifting your kneecaps, squeezing your toes. Maybe you're shaking, just igniting a fire inside your body and your muscles. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And then let it all go. Just release. Bring your arms back to your body's side, palms facing the ceiling. Let's take a deep breath in. Exhale out. Lengthy exhale. Melting right into your mat. And then very gently come to the right side of your body. Just roll over to your right side. Maybe you even make a little pillow with your right arm. So almost a little comforting position. Taking a breath in. Exhale out. And then very gently press yourself back up. Taking your time, coming back into the seated position that you chose earlier. If you don't like cross-legged, you can always sit in a butterfly if you like that better, or sit with your legs out in front of you. So whatever feels nice. Once we're all back in the seated position, let's do our shoulders again. Let's lift our shoulders up towards our ears, roll them open, creating that nice space, sitting up with that tall spine, sit bones into the mat. Crown towards the top of the head, and then take your fingertips, just place them on either side of your body. We're going to take one more little stretch or two. Let's go ahead and inhale our arms up towards the ceiling, spread your fingers, and then bring your hands together. Draw your hands to heart center. Let's do one more wrist stretch. Rotate and dial those fingertips down towards your mat. Take a look at your veins. Pinkies are facing your body. Maybe they even touch. And holding this, we're going to rotate them right back up. Let's go ahead and take our hands and shake them out a little bit. Spread your fingers wide, spread your hands out. Let's press them into the mat and get one more little stretch into that low back area, pressing your head down towards your mat. And then slowly pressing right back up again. Hands right back to heart center. Thank you so much for spending your Wednesday morning with me for gentle yoga today. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and hope you'll join me again next week. So great seeing everybody. Take care. Namaste.